everyone, it's Destiny and welcome back to the channel. I'm super excited to start a new project with you all today. If you watched my previous video, you know I mentioned my next project would be more focused on perfecting my pattern drafting skills. I wanted to start off with a piece that was really straightforward and just really minimal math to accomplish. So we're gonna go ahead and start with a circle skirt. It's a tongue twister, circle skirt. I'm gonna link down below where I got the written instructions on how to accomplish this pattern if you want to make an attempt at it on your own. I'll also link a YouTube video that is really good at visual instructions for this project. I'm mainly documenting my process of learning how to do this, so I don't know if you'll be able to take away a step-by-step instruction on this. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to go ahead and start by showing you what materials I'm going to be using to accomplish this project, and we'll go from there. So these are my general materials that I'm going to be using. I didn't include my sewing machine in this because I'm still debating whether or not I'm going to stitch this project by hand. I'm not really sure. I feel like when I use my sewing machine, I tend to rush through sections, and I just want to make sure that I take my time and focus on perfecting. The first thing that I have here is my tracing paper, and this is what I'm going to use to draft my pattern. Now, I use tracing paper, and as you can see, it's really see-through. My paper wasn't wide enough, so I went ahead and taped two pieces together. I've seen some people use parchment paper, which is like kitchen grade. That also suffices. It's really up to you and what you have available to you. You can even use like scrap fabric that you have and just create a template out of that. I have a longer ruler that's gonna help me measure out the length of the skirt that I want. I have my measuring tape, which is what I'm gonna use to measure out my waist, the color thread that I need, which matches perfectly with this. My zipper, which has some gold hardware on it. I love gold hardware. That's a pattern you'll notice on all my projects, is they tend to have gold hardware on everything. And this is my beautiful pattern, or my beautiful fabric that I'm going to be using. Super pretty. It's a cotton blend material. It should have some nice movement to it. Let's go ahead and get started with drafting our pattern. Okay, so before I show you the pattern that I drafted for this skirt, I'm gonna go ahead and show you the idea I have. This is gonna be the front side, and it's hard to tell here, but what I really wanna have is a fitted waist and keep it one seam down the back, which I'm gonna show you in a minute. And on the back, I mentioned I wanted to have one seam, and that seam is gonna go right here down the center, where I'm also gonna attach my zipper, this gold part representing the zipper. Okay guys, I have some good news and I have some bad news. The good news is that I finished drafting my circle skirt pattern, and I'm really happy with it. Really quickly, some key differences you'll notice between this pattern and what I linked down below is that this is a half circle rather than a quarter of a circle. And the reason I did that is because I wanted to have only one seam down the back, which is where my zipper is gonna go. That was pretty much the only difference. Everything else really followed suit with what they instructed in the video and the written instruction. Would highly recommend following that. If you want to do what I did, just go ahead and calculate for half a circle. After cutting and drafting this pattern, I realized that I don't have enough fabric for it. I have to completely change my aesthetic for this skirt, which I was like pretty sad about, I'm not gonna lie. I had this really cute aesthetic and vision for it, but I'm gonna switch it up, and I'm actually gonna make a more complex project, which is pretty ironic because I wanted this to be simple, and now I'm gonna go ahead and make it complicated. And rather than just doing a skirt, I'm actually gonna make a dress with a circle skirt bottom. So I'm gonna go ahead and re-sketch that with my new fabric sample. I'll come back to you guys with a redesign and show you what the new vision is. So far, I'm really happy with how I was able to approach pattern drafting, and I definitely have more confidence in it. I'm thinking this project is gonna come out really technically great, and I'll be able to make this look more polished and more perfect in terms of finishes. Let's go ahead and redesign. New design is complete. This is the new silhouette I'm going for. As you can see, we're going to continue on with that circle skirt. I'm just going to use this zebra print fabric that is actually see-through, so I have to add a liner to it. I totally know how to do that now. I also decided to replicate the silhouette and design from the previous video I made with my dress and just reattempt that and maybe modernize some things that I wasn't really too happy with on that last dress. And on the back, you can see it's very similar to the last dress I made. We're going to do a lace-up back. I really like doing the lace up because it gives me more ability to change how I want it to fit. So if I want it to be a little bit looser on the top, I can go ahead and loosen this tie and make that possible. And then if I want to add more lift to the top portion, I can make it tighter and more cinched at the waist here. And then the zipper will be right here in the middle of this V on the skirt. So I have one more panel here to create and then 2 pieces on the top. Here is my new fabric. Really pretty. It has this like nice light green color to it. I don't know if the camera will pick it up truly. In the daylight it will look a lot prettier. And then this is my liner fabric underneath that I'm going to use. It's black and it has this really pretty gold sheen to it when it moves just right. I'm hoping you'll be able to see underneath that because this is pretty sheer. We'll see when it's complete. Either way, I do need a darker fabric underneath in order to make this look right. Quick update for you guys. I went ahead and traced the pattern onto my fabrics and cut those as well. I started with my liner fabric and then I went ahead and cut the top layer. You're gonna notice here that this looks more like an oval right at the moment, and that's because I had to add about 1.25 inches for my seam allowance in order to add my zipper and then to close the skirt together. By the time I'm done with that, it'll look a little bit more like that. So a little bit of this width is gonna disappear. In order to add my zipper though, I need to add 1 cut across, and that'll be where I join the skirt together and then add my zipper like I said. So far I'm really happy with what it's looking like. I quite enjoy this pattern in this silhouette. This fabric has a lot of weight to it, but it's also really flowy and loose. I think this might be a really fun dress to wear if you go out dancing. So far so good. I'm really excited about it. Let's go ahead and add that cut and start pinning in my zipper. There is a lot going on with this table. I have basically my entire project laid out here in bits and pieces. I left off telling you guys that I wanted to cut my skirt in order to be able to pin my zipper in. I went ahead and paused on that and didn't cut it just yet because I wanted to actually bias tape my new dress pattern onto my dress form. Now I didn't use bias tape, I actually used a piece of string and just pinned it onto my mannequin here. And you can kind of see the silhouette that I'm going for, where I'm gonna have my skirt down here and then I have another panel here, sort of like how I illustrated it. And then I'm gonna add a section of fabric right here that goes down into a triangle, so that way I have my zipper centered down in this area. So I skipped cutting in order to do this first. That way I have a better mindset of where I want to cut on that circle. Still, I'm not going to cut it just yet. I went ahead and actually cut templates for my new pattern. So this is actually the front bodice piece here, so you can kind of see where it's going to go. Just like that. This is leftover tracing paper I have from cutting out my skirt, so I'm gonna make use of that. I have my little cheat sheet here. Anyways, I have 2 triangle pieces that I need to cut for the back section, and I'm gonna go ahead and sketch those out in this area. Then I need to cut out my top portion, which is where my bust is gonna go, and that I'm gonna use this to model that piece. And I went ahead and did some measuring. This is a 6x6 triangle, so 6 inches, 6 inches, 6 inches. I'm gonna go ahead and add seam allowance. My fabric that I'm working with is just as stretchy as this, if not maybe a little less stretchy, but I'm still debating whether I want to add inserts on my dress in order to add more support. I'll cross that bridge when I get there. I first want to just get my templates cut, and then I'll worry about things like support and whatnot. Then I gotta cut my ties, so similar to how this is added up here, I need to cut my tie in order to be able to sandwich it in between the layers on this part. I'm gonna add these for my straps. Similar to my last dress that I made, I repurposed these off of a purse that was in poor condition. The only difference is here I don't have a D-ring, so I'm gonna have to make my straps small enough to loop through here. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish tracing these last remaining bits of pattern that I need to do. I don't know how good my light is. It's probably not the best right now, but I'm working a little late at night today. I went ahead and cut all the rest of my patterns for this new dress that I'm working on. This is the tie loops that I'm going to be adding to the back and then also to the metal detail on the straps. This is the bra top. This is the front panel. I already went ahead and cut out the pieces with the liner just to make sure everything was looking good because I have a surplus of the liner fabric. I don't have a lot of the top layer. I cut everything. This is the bra top. And so far everything's looking really good. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the top layers on those next. I also went ahead and cut out the loops that I'm going to be adding around the dress. I went ahead and actually cut the top layer fabric with those as well. I actually used a lot of the scrap fabric I had, so I was able to keep my waist at a minimum, which is always really nice because that means I'm using up everything that I have. I also pinned my skirt. Now, this is actually the fabric side that I'm going to be doing. I just pinned it on the dress form backwards. So I know that's probably like a really backwards way to do it, but it's just my preferred method. I'll probably evolve out of that. I did a really simple and kind of extra large stitch. It's just a temporary stitch to hold the 2 layers together. And then I went ahead and also did that to my zipper. You see this is my excess fabric that I have here. But I also did the temporary stitch on the zipper and then also to connect the skirt that I cut. But yeah, it's looking really good. And if I go like this with my mannequin, it's like twirling really nicely. So it's really motivational. So yeah, let's go ahead and finish cutting. I have one more tie I need to, or one more loop I need to cut, and then I can move on to cutting the top layers for the bra and then the front panel. I'm starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel with this project, and I'm really happy about it. I went ahead and sewed down this with a loose stitch. Actually, it's not really sewn down, it's just like put together. But this is going to be my strap, and this is what's going to attach the bra or the bust top to the strap. So this is going to go, probably going to be only that much visible. But the idea is to be able to have enough wiggle room, so if I need to add more length to it. I do need to add the longer tails at the end so I can tie it. Those ties are actually going to go through these loops. Created a bunch of these little tubes. Quickly stitch them together like this, so that way when I'm pinning them into the fabric layers, it'll be a lot easier for me to manage. Don't mind my appearance. I'm having a lazy Friday. I'm not really worried about looking cute. I wanted to sew, and I'll worry about looking cute whenever my project is finally done. Just wanted to chit chat while I sew. I typically end up watching like a TV series or like my favorite comfort movies or like I said TV series. Right now I'm watching Game of Thrones again. I know cringe the way it ended was not good. I just really enjoy it. I don't know. Something about the genre of fantasy and castles and princesses I really enjoy. Typically I also watch Lord of the Rings. I recently just watched that actually about like 2 weeks ago I think. My husband kind of got annoyed. He was like, you just watched that like a month ago, and then I rewatched it like 2 weeks ago. So it's like a once a month type of thing I go through. I also just watched the Hobbit movie for the first time, the first one. I wasn't the biggest fan of all the CGI work that was in it, but I'm also reading the book. I can appreciate some of the details and seeing that come to life. I appreciated it. I didn't mind it too much. It wasn't that horrible, but the CGI stuff, so. I really like Lord of the Rings because it was all practical and real set designs. Right now, by the way, I'm just sewing these loops that I mentioned earlier for the lace up back that I'm doing. I also really enjoy watching True Detective season 1. That's another good classic that I enjoy. I was thinking about actually starting House of Dragon after I finish Game of Thrones. I'll see how I feel. I might start Lord of the Rings all over again. Also, we only watch the extended editions. I just finished making my little bra top. I very quickly just went ahead and sewed the top, or the sides of the top here, and then I hand stitched these since this was a little too thick for my sewing machine. Just to show you the back side, I have them pinned down at the bottom so that way I can do a quick stitch with my yellow string, and then I'll undo that whenever I go in there with my actual sewing machine. The most annoying thing just happened to me right now. Before I tell you what just happened, I ended up, rather than pinning this rectangular piece on my bodice, I went ahead and started pinning the bra top directly onto it. I just marked however long this piece was. It's about 16 inches, so the middle is 8 inches in, and then I marked that line down the center. Then I went ahead and marked every line that was about 1 inch apart. Based on that, I then pinned my bra top. I pinned it absolutely perfectly, dead centered, only to realize that when I flip it over, one piece is pinned perfectly, right side up, and the other one's upside down. That's the most frustrating thing ever. So now I have to undo my work. I'm just gonna get that pinned and then I'm gonna take a break. In the meantime, I'm still watching Game of Thrones. My pieces are finally coming together. I'm really, really excited about this. I attached the bra top to the bodice piece. Now, something that I didn't do 100% right was center this as best as possible. So this one's just a slightly shorter than this. It's only about like that much shorter. I'll be able to fix that though because I haven't cut my back pieces yet. I also added a top stitch here. I didn't film the process of the top stitch. I had already gotten through the process before I realized, oh crap, I didn't film it. It's feeling really good. It's feeling really polished and put together nicely. My next step is to add it to my dress form and get it pinned to the bottom skirt. Disregard this box, it needs to go into storage. I have pinned the top bodice together and it's inside out at the moment. I like to work with my projects inside out so that way I can stitch together using these temporary stitches a little easier. The skirt is a little long, long for what I want it to be. I just have it this length at the moment because I tend to make my garments a little too short. I went ahead and did a temporary stitch to hold together my skirt to this bodice piece here. So you can see that right there with my yellow stitching. I kind of hit a roadblock. I'm not sure where I'm going to insert my loops because I want them to be invisible. I went ahead and cut new pieces to draft my pattern from, and rather than cutting triangle pieces, what I'm going to do is cut a square on both my green and black fabric and just fold those over, and then go ahead and cut my sort of like a liner piece to where I can put my little loops in between these two layers like this. We've got House of Dragon going. My back pieces are cut. I feel really good about the progress that we're making. I feel on top of the world. I am going to take out my sewing machine to get these stitched properly and turned inside out, so that way this will be done and ready for final assembly. I'm going to temporarily stitch these two layers together so that way it makes it a little easier to work with. A little side note, I have been really enjoying House of Dragon. There's been a few moments where I've been talking out loud in response to the storyline, so that means I'm really invested in it. This is my first time watching it through and through. I'm on season 1, episode 7. So far so good. I actually enjoy it. I'm curious to know what you guys think of it, so comment down below and let me know. I have seen a lot of things about season 2. I'm trying not to spoil it on my explore pages. A lot of progress has been made. I haven't been filming everything, but to quickly catch you up, I went ahead and pinned and sewed down the back panels here. Cut, sewed them, everything like that is all done. Here, I've done a permanent stitch on the side. I did do a temporary stitch for this bottom part, connecting the bodice to the skirt. So I'm not gonna use my sewing machine to do my final stitch work for this back piece, only for this top stitching here. Everything else is gonna be hand stitched, which is what I'm doing right now. I'm sewing my zipper on here. You can see my needle and thread going here. Side by side, you can see my temporary stitch here. I made it bright yellow so that way I can see it. And then the black, you can see it blends in very nicely. This side is already done. I just have to take out my temporary stitching. Currently, I'm watching House of Dragon. Started the series not too long ago, and now I'm on season 2, episode 8, and I've been watching it throughout this entire process, and it's pretty darn good. I went ahead and added my top stitch to attach the skirt to the rest of the dress. I have a lot of progress I need to make in terms of the back. I added my zipper, but what I need to do is finish sewing down the bottom or the back of it, and then I need to finish making my straps so I can try it on and decide how long I want it. And while I make the straps, I also have to add in my loops to this section over here and trim off my excess fabric. Oh my goodness. She's looking really good. The straps were giving me a pretty hard time. I'm not gonna even lie to you guys. Before I get to the straps, I'm just gonna give you a brief look at where we're at now. I've turned the dress inside out and put her back on the form. She's a little long in the skirt, so I am gonna have to trim a couple inches off, but I just wanted to make sure I got a chance to try it on before I trim any of the length, so that way I'm not inappropriately trimming it. You can see it also fits a little wonky in some of these areas, but that's just because I need to add the ties. The back is looking great. I managed to make it really symmetrical, which was the most important part to me. But let's talk about these straps for a moment. They're super long. I made them last night or the other night, and while I was turning them inside out, I ended up being a little too rough with my fabric. So there's a couple spots where I had to like Tim Burton stitch them back together because I didn't want to run through so much fabric and just keep making the same mistake over and over again. But once they tie down, you won't even see them. They'll look like that. And then that, it's looking really good. I ended up making 3 straps, but the first one that I made and turned inside out completely ripped on me. I'll insert a clip of what that looked like when I finally turned it all the way inside out. I swear to you, that process gave me probably like 3 gray hairs. Now the zipper is put into place. I'm really happy with the way that's looking as well. I just need to finish sewing down this section here where the skirt comes together. I also finished House of Dragon, so I have nothing to watch right now. My husband actually ended up getting into Game of Thrones with me, so I'm not able to watch any episodes without him. I'm feeling so good. about this dress right now. I went ahead and hand stitched my loops on. I ended up ditching my liner that I was gonna add on top of the loops to make it invisible because I just really felt it wasn't necessary and I didn't think it was too much of an eyesore. The loops are actually pulling in all the right places that I wanted them to. You can see they're adding tension right here just below the bust, giving a nice pull and tension in the areas that I want to add more lift. And then the next loop I have is down here at the bottom, and it's adding tension exactly where I wanted to, just above the waist, to give more of a cinching. My next step is going to finalize the length. I don't have a serger, so I zigzag stitched the bottom just to prevent any fraying, but I'm gonna try it on now and see how that fits, and then I'm gonna go ahead and alter the length. I'm thinking it's probably gonna be about that much shorter. I'm not too sure. I have to try it on and see, and then mark from there. So far, I'm feeling really good about this. I love it, the way it fits up here, and especially in this top portion. I think it's very flattering. I really love the back as well, just to show you really quick. It's super comfortable, really easy to adjust, and get it fitting the way I want it to. I also really love this movement. It's so flowy. It's exactly what I wanted. The only thing I'm not too happy with is the length, and this was something I was already anticipating happening. I've been mentioning it throughout this video that I am gonna make it shorter. I just didn't know how short I wanted to go, and I'm definitely gonna go slow in the process of making it short because I don't want to make it too short where it's unwearable. I think somewhere along here, like down to my fingertips. I'm gonna decide, I'm gonna go inch by inch to make sure that I don't take off too much. I'm feeling really happy about it. So excited. Let's go and hem the bottom and then we're done. So I've done my first round of hemming the bottom. Might be my last, might not be. I only took about 1.5 inches, maybe an inch off the bottom so far. And I'm gonna try it on really quickly, see if that's the ideal length for me. If it isn't, I'll go ahead and take off another inch and go from there. I'm not gonna try it on again until it's completely done for the video. Somewhat of a surprise, I guess. So I tried it on. The length looks really good. I'm just gonna take off probably another like small sliver, like probably that much off the length. It's just hitting at a weird spot, but I really do like the way it looks a little bit shorter. So just a little bit more off and then we're done. We have a finished rolled hem on the bottom. I'm really happy with the way this bottom part, how clean it came out. Let's go try it on. Well, this has been quite the journey. It started off as a simple circle skirt that we were going for, and we ended up finishing a full-fledged dress. I'm really proud of myself for sticking to the initial design of a circle skirt, and rather than just scrapping the entire idea and working with what I had and trying to just wing it on the fly. Stuck to my guns. I created the pattern. I just pivoted the fabric choice that I was going with, and I ended up developing a design that was beyond what I could have initially imagined. So I'm feeling super proud of this dress. The finishing jobs are beyond any standard that I've ever been able to accomplish. My rolled hem at the bottom is perfect for what I wanted. It adds enough weight at the bottom of my skirt so when I twirl it doesn't just fly up, but it rather does a perfect circle. And that was something that I was really looking forward to the entire time I was making this. I kept envisioning that like twirl and that probably sounds so ridiculous, but yeah, I love that twirl. It's so satisfying. I'm really happy with the color choice of this dress as well. I think this green color is perfect for the season that we're going into. And although it wasn't what I initially wanted, it ended up being so much better than I could have ever imagined. I also loved having the opportunity to be able to go back on a previous design and step it up further and further my skill set along the way with that design as well. I feel like also drafting that pattern really helped me take my own advice on slowing down and worrying more about perfecting rather than completing, which was ultimately all I ever wanted out of this project. And in the end, I got a beautiful dress out of it that I'm really excited to wear out. But I'm really curious to know what you think about it. If you've been sewing for years and have fundamental advice for me, I am all ears. I'm an open book. I jot down every piece of advice that I could ever get. I take it, store it, try to apply it as best I can. I'm excited to see what I move on to next, and maybe it's gonna be something a little simpler, just so I can feel that sense of accomplishment a lot faster. This definitely, at some point I was like, where's the light at the end of the tunnel? I don't know if I can do it. But I'm glad I stuck to it, nevertheless. Maybe my next project will be something a little simpler. That's what I thought this was gonna be, and it ended up being a whole dress. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, all the YouTube things, and I we'll see you in the next one.